Innovators invest heavily in experiential capital.
And what is it? Well, experiential capital is simply cumulative experience.
The more experience I build up in trying new ideas, the more experiential capital I build up. And the more experiential capital I build up, the better positioned I am to deal with this fast-paced future.
What innovators do is they go out and they try a number of small-scale projects simply to build up their capabilities.
How do you deal with the fact that there's so many things which are occurring which can impact you? There's so many ideas out there. There's so many new fast ideas which are emerging, resulting in new opportunities to do something different.
There's so much going on. There's so much going on. So
to do to get through this innovation challenge. And what we need to do is we need to get in and get our feet wet and begin working with this stuff.
We're going to continue to work with a number of small-scale projects to beef up our experience, and we're going to learn to scale that experience.
We might not get it right the first time.
The more they develop experience in areas in which they don't know anything, the more experience they build up. The more experience they build up, the more experiential capital they build up. The more experiential capital they build up, the better positioned they are to deal with the future.
Organizations in the 21st century will succeed through the depth of their financial capital, but they will succeed as well in terms of how much experiential capital they build up. The more we build up,
what will take you forward in the future will be your available financial capital, but also the accumulated experience that you build up.
Investing in experiential capital, making the conscious decision to invest in experiential capital is one of the most important things that you can do.
Hey, futurist Jim Carroll from the home broadcast studio, Studio 2. Look, every time now I'm getting in front of the camera, I'm realizing I desperately need a haircut, but that too will come in time. Experiential capital, look, this is a topic I've been focused Mercedes-Benz and the World Bank and Disney, and I even spoke about experiential capital at NASA. What is it? Well, it's the whole focus that there's so much going on, there's so many trends unfolding at a blistering pace that what we really need to do is, with a lot of these trends, is simply dive in and get our feet wet and begin to learn about them, even if we haven't quite figured out what they mean. So what I'm now doing is I'm revisiting these leadership issues that I put out in January before the global economy melted down, Leadership Insight 2020. And this was number 6 on the list. And let me crystallize what it now means in the context of what has happened in the last 3 months. Think about what has happened with COVID-19. Organizations which realized that 3D printing was going to be a critical component of their future manufacturing operations were quickly able to change their operations to get involved in 3D printing of nasal swabs and surgical masks and all kinds of PPE for hospitals for COVID-19. So they were heavily invested in 3D printing. They recognize the importance of experiential capital. Just get in, get your feet wet. We don't know when the trend is going to become real. And then all of a sudden, the trend became very real. Well, in this new world, experiential capital is probably even more important than ever before as trends compress, as our speed accelerates even further, as things begin to change at an absolutely blistering pace. So let me replay for you the video that I put out in January 2020 in the olden days, just 3 months ago, and think about it now in the context of the new world that you find yourselves in. Futurist Jim Carroll with 20 opportunities for transformative thinking in times of transformation. Number 6. Boost your experiential capital. It used to be that the depth of your financial capital was the only important asset for going forward into the future. But in today's accelerating economy, it's also your accumulated experience in dealing with all the new trends that you are encountering on a regular basis. I advise my clients that what they need to do is continually experiment, take risks, take on projects which involve a lot of new ideas and new capabilities and new skills. The more they do these things, the more experience they build up. The more experience they build up, the deeper the well of the experiential capital that they have to go forward into a faster future. Boost your experiential capital. You will discover it's one of the most important assets for going forward into the accelerating future. Think about the context of this. I remember, when Disney brought me in, one of the most creative and innovative organizations on the planet, and they decided to bring me in for a talk on how to be more creative and more innovative. And I actually talked about experiential capital in the context of how quickly the broadcasting and entertainment industry was evolving at the time, and put in perspective, look, we haven't figured out what the business model is. We don't know where streaming is going to go. We don't know where music ownership is going to go. We don't know where intellectual property with movie assets is going to go, but we do know all of this is unfolding extremely quickly. So the best thing that you can do is to jump in, get your feet wet, learn about what's going on, and simply develop that experience to better understand what you need to do in the future. Now, in this eventual return to a post-pandemic world, and we don't know when it's going to happen, we don't know how it's going to happen, but we are in the midst of it right now. One of the most important things you can do is to get your feet wet, get involved, understand trends, work with trends, get aggressive. Business models being reinvented, entire product lines being reinvented, entire supply chains being rejiggered to deal with our new reality and the need for more resilience. I mean, everywhere you look, the speed of change is simply insight2020.jimcarroll.com. And look, join me here every day, because I got 13 more of these to go, and there is a lot to think about in terms of what we need to do to align ourselves to this fascinating new world. I'll also be broadcasting from Studio One, the green screen studio, which is over there on the other side of the home broadcast studio, because in our post-pandemic world, virtual events and sharing insight in a new and dramatic fashion is certainly a critical component of our future as we go forward. That's it for now. Jim Carroll at Jim Carroll, jimcarroll.com.